Yes, the first question is about the sharing of the presentation. We are going to broadcast the recording of this seminar in our YouTube channel, so please don't worry about it. And then there's some question from Mr. Katsuhama, who is a PhD student at the University of Tokyo Biological Sciences. And he said he used to study the drought tolerance of sugarcane. And then he's asking if latooning of sorghum is general practice or not. And then after latooning, the yield is going down or something like that. I'm afraid this is more like agronomic questions. And then Subarao-san, can you answer? Maybe. Yes, Dr. Subarao can answer your question.
Yeah, ratooning can be is a common practice in most of the fodder production. I think sorghum can withstand 2 to 3 ratoonings, but sorghum is not a perennial crop, so it can withstand 2 to 3 ratoonings and can produce a reasonably good yield in biomass as well as grain yield, I think.
Thank you so much. 勝浜様、今のお答えで大丈夫でしょうか？ですね、ソルガムとかミレットは多年生ではないけれども、2、3年の株出しは可能であるというお答えでした。はい、またよろしくお願いします。次に、ロイ、yes, next question is from Mr. Roy Dubari, and then Japanese Millets variety name. These are maybe already addressed by Professor Kawase, but maybe Professor Kawase can talk a little bit more about the Japanese millet name. Our is foxtail millet. And
the vernacular name of millets in Japan, for example, awa means foxtail millet. And kibi means common millet or broom corn millet, or you can say proso millet, Panicum mediaceum. This is kibi. And our kibi here is echinochlora. It is Japanese banyan millet. Japanese banyan millet and Indian banyan millet are the different genomic constitution. And our kibi here, shikokubie is finger millet, ragi in India, and shikokubie. Tojinbie means pearl millet, bajra in India. So my answer is okay?
Yes, I think it should be okay. And then maybe you can, maybe Mr. Loy, maybe you can watch the YouTube again because this question was addressed before Professor Kawase's presentation. Thank you so much. Another question. There are 2 questions from Ms. Matsura. Maybe I can take the second question. Okay. Please tell me why it's necessary to improve varieties, even though there are so many varieties already. Since gene editing and genetic modification cannot be used in organic cultivation, I think this contradicts the advantage of millet grains. But what do you think? Do you think, Professor Kawase, this is a challenging question?
Yeah, really challenging and difficult. It's maybe eternal problem among breeders and ordinary people. And I think we have more than 10,000 years history of agriculture. Our ancestors already improved, for example, finding mutations, selecting or crossing artificially or naturally. And it is just like modern breeders' practices, but it took long time from ancient times. And during the course of people selected the better or suited one for their food or for their cultivation practices or for the climate conditions. So same thing is done utilizing the scientific tools in this 100 years. So modern breeding we call. During the modern breeding, we use not only natural mutation, but artificial mutation and artificial crossing, or sometimes biotechnological analysis, marker assisted selection, and so on. So it accelerates the selection process or finding new traits. And we cannot live only by the wild species. So after the finding or establishing agriculture, we gradually improved plant, which is suited for our life, for more production, for more good taste, and so on. So I think the variation or diversity of millets at present is a result of agricultural history of more than, or sometimes 10,000 years. And it is not enough to get really suitable, because new diseases are coming and climate changes are coming, and people want more tasty, more productive varieties. That's why breeders are trying to get better one for tomorrow, is my answer. Not enough, I guess, but anyway.
Thank you so much. Maybe Dr. Hughes, could you maybe repeat or just maybe come back to the earlier question about the merit and demerit of millets in comparison to maize, wheat, rice in terms of the utilization? Yes.
Thank you. Yes, sorry about that. We had a power outage here, which is why I pre-recorded my presentation. I was saying that the millets in Europe they've always existed, but then they became used for feeding pet birds, that kind of thing. So already there was a feeling that they're not really high value crops. When you look at what's available in the drylands, until more recently, the crops were lower in quality, low in productivity, and then there wasn't the consumer demand. So why should farmers bother to produce high quality crops? However, India and the International Year of Millets, both together, have really given, a power start, a restart to millets. We've always worked on millets, but it's really difficult to get people to change their eating habits, to understand that millets are really good for you. So now I believe with the International Year of Millets, with all the focus, with all of you sitting in the audience and your colleagues and the world, I believe that millets can be included in our everyday diets. They'll become as important, but we need to get the agronomy, the varieties, the value chains, everything has to work together. And I strongly believe that the market pull is vital. So the prepared foods, for example, we don't have time to soak grains for hours, use a pressure cooker for 30, 40, 50 minutes. So that fast food component, fast, healthy food will produce the pull. And I can tell you that in the countries we work in, the drylands are expanding. So even maize that we thought was a borderline dryland adapted crop is not. So I think you will find that the millets, if we can focus better on them as a research community, and then as an extension community, will help us put the millets up there with rice, wheat, and maize. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hughes. And now let me take a few more questions from the Q&A section. But some of them are maybe addressed to Dr. Tara Satyawati. So maybe I can read now and then ask Dr. Satyawati to answer later. It's great to see that millet has been on the rise in India. I'm curious, what do you think are the key factors driving this trend? Could it be due to climate resilience, the development of better cultivars, or perhaps even changes in farmers' preference? Or it's due to cultivate area expansion rather than the increased yield per unit area? The same person, Dr. Aonzo Wu, I'm curious about the impact of biofortification on grain yield. If we aim to increase the zinc and the iron content in the grain, does this affect the overall yield? I am aware that there is often a trade-off between grain quality and yield, so I would like to learn more about the potential effects of biofortification. I think we are going to ask this question to Dr. Tara Satyawati, and then we just try to return the answers to you. Thank you so much. Next, from the question from Mr. Araki. How about the agronomy research on the farming system of intercropping of millets and other crops? The millets can be a weed for the major crops. So some farmers may be hesitant to introduce millets into their intercrop cycle. What do you think? Do you think maybe Yoshihasa can answer or Subarao-san?
Yeah, I think many of the cereals, the millets, if you generalize the term millets, like sorghum, for instance, palm millet, they have been traditionally used as intercrops, like sorghum, pigeon peas, sorghum, even yeah, so the sorghum, pigeon pea, sorghum, even I think sorghum, pigeon pea is one of the very common intercrops, and this, maybe even palm millet, coffee in Africa. So it's nothing new about using millets as intercrop. It's been traditional practice. Maybe I think Dr. Hughes should supplement because. Yeah.
May I supplement some? I think that in Japan, since that one of the worst weed of the paddy field, we call that the inubiene, the part of the millet. Actually, it's not exact millet, but so that's why that it has a very bad image as a weed, but actually it's not weed.
Okay, thank you so much. Maybe Dr. Hughes, you can make 1-2 comments.
Yes, thank you. Intercropping is done, and what we in Africa, and what we find is intercropping with a legume works really well. So that intercropping, but it has to be done with sufficient number of rows of the millet so that maybe, as we're hearing, it doesn't look like a weed and is easy to harvest because you have to harvest both crops. But many of the farmers do small monoculture plots. So intercropping can be done, perhaps should be done. Rotations are more likely to happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope this addressed your question, Mr. Araki. And now I have a question from Mr. Hibara. Some startups for agriculture advertise and sell fonio as a superfood. If those startups buy with appropriate value from farmers, while farmers that cultivate millets comply quality, enough amounts and delivery date, the win-win situation causes between startups and those farmers. I guess such a way is one of the useful methods to increase production and accepted by consumers. This is about venture and business. Maybe I can ask also this to Dr. Satyawati, or can Dr. Hughes can make a few comments?
Thank you. If I can just go back to what I said earlier, and Dr. Satyawati will give a more detailed answer. I strongly believe that you need demand pull, but demand is predicated on knowing what you can get. So there's many prepared foods, semi-cooked sorghum, millet, etc., sensitizes the consumer, and then you get the demand pull. Like IIMR, we also have an agribusiness incubator, and the number of products that are going through the incubators, and some of the incubatees are getting venture funding for products across India, for example, and we're looking in East Africa. So I think you need quality products that the entrepreneurs can provide. At the same time, you need the consumer pull. So trying to balance those, and we have International Year of Millets is driving that relationship at the moment, and we need to not stop when the International Year stops. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jackie-san. Now I have the final question from an anonymous person in the Q&A session. I think I'm afraid we are losing time, so maybe I can just read out. And this is a very fundamental question I received. So I'm sure that we are going to ask our presenters, and a later day we are going to address. But please let me read. In the dryland areas, millets may be very relevant, very proper crops. But how it is possible to increase the production of millets? Because the growing of millets is not economically feasible here in Japan, and it's also laborious. As new farmers may be hesitant to adopt millets. And then also because of the aging of farming communities, some farmers are abandoning farming. So given the fact that the Japanese millet production is going down on the decrease, what kind of good cases we can learn from other countries? Maybe we are short of time to address this question, but I'm sure we are going to ask our keynote presenters and speakers, and then try to post in our website. Thank you so much.
Distinguished participant of the Millet Seminar, on behalf of the organizer, I'd like to express our sincere appreciation to all the distinguished speakers, especially Dr. Satyavati of IIMR and Dr. Hughes, just disappear, of ICRISAT, remaining at the very end of this seminar. Professor Kawase of Tokyo University of Agriculture, thank you very much, as well as Dr. Nakashima, Dr. Yoshihashi, and Dr. Subarao of JIRCAS for their insightful presentations. JIRCAS is also very grateful for having the opportunity to organize this seminar with the support of the Ministry of Agriculture, Forest and Fisheries, MAF, and the FAO Liaison Office in Japan, which provides warm opening remarks. Millets have long been considered as orphan crops because they have not received sufficient attention in research in compared with other major staple crops. In recent years, however, as our food system have faced climate emergencies and environmental crises, there has been growing interest in millets for their resilience to harsh growing conditions. There are also emerging opportunities with technical breakthroughs, including BNI, we heard today, and biofortification for nutrients, micronutrient improvement, that can enable value addition and economic utilization of millets. There is still much work to be done to overcome genetic and agronomic constraints and challenges. Today we heard about short shelf life of flowers, also striga problems, mainly in Africa. So we have to mainstream millets as a driver of sustainable and resilient food system transformations. We have to become millets as real Shriyana, superfood or supreme food, or even holy food. We sincerely hope that this seminar has provided an educational opportunity to enlighten us all about the true potential of millets and to highlight the critical role of STI, science, technology, and innovation to unlock their potential to address nutritional, agriculture, climate challenges. On the occasion of this International Year of Millets 2023, stakeholders should take advantage of this momentum to initiate collaboration on millet research, such as a new G20 Millets initiative, Maharashi, which I shared a moment of initiation in India G20 Max meeting. Finally, I would like to heartful gratitude to the participants of this seminar in this venue and the participants who are joining us online. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Thank you.